Had a hotspot failure here in Halstead, and we couldn't get set up and live, but we are now live here. So, yes, we're here at Halstead Old Settlers. I don't know, Josh. It's like the 167th or 65th or 54th, 30. I don't know.
It's a lot of them.
It's over 100 years for the Old Settlers deal, and so we're live here. We're getting ready for the parade. Parade will start. The kitty parade starts at 9:30. Are you got anything in the kitty parade, Josh?
Really?
Yeah, there's a kitty parade.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they have little kids in the parade, so I figured you had your trike out or something.
You know, now that I know that, next year, boy, watch out.
Watch out, right? so yes, we're in the biggest little city in Kansas. Yes, my hometown. And we're out in front of the high school here getting ready for the parade. And, yeah, Josh and I are going to have a little firefight in the truck today with the T-shirt cannon. From that part. But, hey, it's a call-in show just like every Saturday and everything else, too. So if you want to call in and check us out, 316-462-3673. Hey, that's the number to the front desk of the dealership. Tell the girls you want to get patched in the podcast. We'll get you a great price package about it, over $130. Josh, got everything dialed in and ready to go?
I apologize. Everybody seeing my best side, the back side there for a little while. But, yeah, getting everything set up, and I think we've got everything finally dialed in here. And, for each and every caller that calls in gets a prize package. We'll mail it out to you. But it consists of the Works, which is an oil change and tire rotation. We use Motorcraft oil and filter products at Mel Hambelton Ford. While we're doing that, we're going to do a multi-point inspection on that vehicle, checking over the brakes, tires, steering, suspension, all the safety-related stuff on that vehicle. You'll also receive $10 to Mel's Diner, so you can get yourself something to eat and drink while you're with us at the big corner. You get complete nitrogen for your tires, so you get all the great benefits that nitrogen has to offer. And then a BG Products package, which consists of a can of MOA or motor oil additive for your engine oil. And then CF5 for your fuel system. Again, just getting that vehicle geared up and ready to go for that next 5,000 miles of driving.
All right, so let's get the phones ringing, 316-462-3673. Once again, we're live from Halstead, Kansas for the Halstead Old Settlers. It's a great weekend here in Halstead, and yeah, Josh, I kind of missed the old great race last night.
So I was wondering about that. I'm guessing, bittersweet on not having to be out and run. But, that does something that brings a family together and all that stuff, too. So I understand that.
My family did that great race for 20 years. I think this is the third year we've now missed the race from that part. But that's okay. Hey, we're here live today to head through the parade. Josh and I are going to have a little T-shirt shooting.
There was no bragging rights or anything like that. Was there?
Yes, there was.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, there was.
That went along with that, was there?
Yeah, that was a fun time for my dad and everything else, too. But so we're getting ready for the parade. The ice cream truck will be here shortly. But, Josh, we've also got the car show over the Scout Cabin that we help sponsor the trophies and stuff. Got some neat trophies this year from that part. So the Wichita Pontiac GTO Club is helping us take that off over there at the Scout Cabin. So if you've got a hot rod or whatever, need to get it out for the car show, you need to come check it out. We got some great dash plaques for every participant. Half of the money goes to Old Settlers. Half the money is going to go to the Sheriff Coonsey's GTO Club. So get your hot rods, come out. And, Josh, I'm sure we'll start seeing some hot rod. I passed 3 or 4 coming in off of the Bentley Road coming in here today. Some pretty cool stuff going to be here. So lots of things to do here in Halstead. So you don't want to miss it and everything else, too. So, Josh, I kick myself in the butt every year. I seen Thompson's Standards truck come by, which is the guy that my dad bought the station from. I got my dad's Scout. I got my father-in-law's tractor. Sometime I got to get all those things together and take the time, but this run.
Go. And
I tell myself every year, I look at these old farm all sitting over here and stuff too. And I remember cruising the parade and that thing. So, here's what it is, right?
Yeah.
Too many irons in the fire, right?
That's exactly what they say. And, I think we definitely get the opportunity to have too many irons in the fire for sure. But, it is nice seeing all these vehicles out and running around. And, I always wonder, when you come to an event like this, is where are these things like the rest of the year? You see that show barn finds or whatever, and that's exactly what a lot of this stuff is they just got them tucked away somewhere and bring them out just on occasions like this.
I don't know where they are either, but it blows me away. The hot rods are out and about too, that show up at these shows, and here sooner or later we'll see some few of them come through here like we always do every year. So we're a little early for some of that too, I guess. So
as we get closer to 10, we'll make that happen for sure. But it's I always enjoy doing the show from here. I'm not sure how much the listeners enjoy because it's so easy to get squirreled around here. You just be talking about something and wow, that was really shiny.
Yeah, what was that?
And so then it's definitely one of the things that you just gotta be on with us and view from that side too. So
this big old thing that just pulled up here, I passed him on the Bentley Road too. He's wide open, wound for sound, doing about 28 mile an hour.
Yeah, that is that's pretty big.
That is a big truck, isn't it? So
it can definitely haul some stuff for sure.
Not sure where the tractors went, why they took off on us, but they did. The tractors took off on us and left. So I don't know what
probably
happened.
Making too much noise, if I had to guess. So I think they've got them. They've got it divided out when I registered over there, depending upon what you were, and so I think they got them in sections. So I'm guessing the tractors took off over there. So, well, I've got one of the things I was. Seeing all these older cars running around here and stuff. The boys and I were online looking at some stuff last night on older cars and, just their opinion of what was cool versus mine.
I bet there is a difference of opinion there, isn't there?
It just blows me away. I was looking at an Olds 442. So they had a Hearst edition version
442
of those.
Hearst, yes. 68, 69, somewhere in there.
So it was actually a little newer. This was an 84, had T-tops and stuff like
84?
that.
Okay, yeah.
And, we're going through looking at it, and I was specifically asking them, what is it about it that you don't like? And they're like, well, the front end, it's just too squared off. And
they were square back then,
not rounded. But, just picking out different features of what they think was cool then versus what's cool now. And I don't even remember what it was. There was another car we brought up and they're like, oh yeah, I really like that. And I was like, man, I wouldn't own one of those for nothing.
Well, let's look right here, this Cornet sitting over here.
Yeah.
And it's got the slots on it. I can't tell if that's ETs like was on my Chevelle, but look at the white walls.
Yep.
Look at the white walls.
And then now to have a set of white walls on a car, that's you'd have a hard time finding that. Raised white lettering is another thing. The other thing I can think of is everything had Kragers. If you wanted a wheel, you had the ET slot or the Krager. That was pretty much your option, back then. Or steel wheels with the chrome moon cap on it.
Yeah. So anyway, hey, Josh, I think we got a caller coming in too. So,
okay.
I think it's Delbert. Let's get Delbert patched in here in a second too. Kelly Hamilton's texting me. He's mad we didn't get him on here, Josh. Well, where you at, Kelly? Come on. Just get your butt over here. Oh, some of us have work to do. Yeah. Well, this is work, dude. Yeah. So anyway, we'll get Delbert patched in here just real quick and answering a few more texts coming through here. So
welcome to the biggest little city, right?
I need to look and see if that's still up on the co-op there on Main Street, but I think it is.
Yes, it is.
You didn't see it?
Yeah, we were here for a ball game here. It was a week or so ago. Well, no, it's been longer than that. But anyways, I do remember seeing that. So good morning, Delbert. You're live with Under the Hood.
Good morning, gentlemen. How's everything going out there in Old Hutch?
It's going really well. Really well. Ken, how you doing, buddy? Good, buddy.
How's it going?
It's okay. That's Ken Hunnell. He has opened up a body shop in Hutch, in Stan Richards' building. So yes. So good to see Ken here and stuff too. But well, Delbert, what's happening, buddy?
Well, not a whole lot. We got a little rain this morning here in Oklahoma City, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about brakes and how they react in the heat. Oh my goodness, what a difference! So those people out there that going, well, my brakes don't feel like they're working as well, and that's probably a true statement.
That's more than a true statement.
We've been having. Yeah.
Heck, I don't work well in the heat
I don't know if you guys get. I understand that, but for those people out there that don't work on cars, and it's like, hey, my brakes kind of feel weird when I'm stopping hard. So, and I've noticed it over the last couple of years with my car, and I put new brakes on it, went back to OEM just because I know they work well, and they're designed for the car to work well. So,
I'm gonna tell you, brakes,
they act the same.
Yeah, brakes have come a long way, and we get so.
Yes, they have.
We get so. We rely on our brakes too much because how great they are. If you go get in an old car that doesn't have power brakes today and try to stop one of those, you almost want to pass out because your stomach's going away from you. You don't think that thing's going to stop. But we do rely so hard on our brakes today because they are so good and so well designed and engineered. But we forget about how they were years ago, how old those brakes were and how well they didn't work.
So what
They did work, but
yeah.
just not that good. Our stopping distances were crazy.
What blows me away is you'll have a car every once in a while that will come in with a mechanical or needing a mechanical repair, and like the booster will be out of it, and you get in it and you don't realize how used to them that you're working you are. And so just even pulling up to a garage door or pulling one out of the service drive or something, and then you go to hit that brake and there's no power assist there, it'll
Yeah.
you'll need to change your underwear if you're not careful, for sure. And so we'll come through and we're at no brakes on the windshield real big in front of the driver, so that everybody getting in and out of that car is aware of that. But I think that's something that somebody going through like a driver's ed course or something, I think that should be actually part of the course, is trying to drive that thing with no power assist, just so you understand how reliant you are on the brakes. It's crazy.
Yeah, you go back to the days of drum brakes and no power brakes and all that kind of stuff. And now today, I still remember when they first started introducing analog brakes in the mid 80s, and we were actually doing skid tests with them on wet surfaces and stuff. And what I couldn't believe more than anything is just putting analog brakes on a car. I thought it would give you more control, but I mean, it really did stop down the distance it took to stop a car. I mean, like in half. So you take and shut off analog brakes even today, and how much difference that makes. But again, Delbert, what you're saying to us today too is it's getting this hot weather. We rely so heavily on these brakes, and we still don't realize how good they really are even in the hot weather, because we're so accustomed to how good they do work. But it goes back to, again, making sure you have those brakes inspected every time you get an oil change to make sure how the wear is going on and what's happening with them.
Well, I think we can talk about hot brakes too, in the sense of when I think of hot brakes or operating hot brakes, I associate that with warping the rotors. Very much so. And that's something that it is very hard to prevent a vehicle from the rotors getting warped over a long period of time. And as a consumer, when you drive a car on a daily basis and it just it's something that progressively or slowly worsens, you really don't notice it. But then, when you take it into a service center or something like that, and somebody jumps in it that doesn't drive that car every day, it really sticks out. And, those vibrations come from those rotors getting hot and then going through like cool water or whatever, and cooling that. It's like heat cinching the rotors, and then they cool off real quick and they warp. Or removing a tire and then putting it back on and not torquing it properly, or the wrong installation as far as the lug nuts go, as far as pattern. But warped rotors are, in my mind, almost a safety hazard too.
Oh, I get it. I mean, I tell you how many cars I get into, and the warping of a rotor and the pulsation comes in so gradual, you get used to it. You don't know what happens. But we get into a car and that's the first thing I pick up on. Mm-hmm. And the customer doesn't even know it even happened, because they're just so used to how it gradually started happening and everything else too. But a warped rotor, I mean, it's going to kill your stopping distance too. So
exactly. And, like I said, we've had a lot of 100-degree days down here.
We haven't had any of those, though.
Just noticing. Yeah, I know you have. That's why I thought it's a good topic to have. Because you go to stop and your stopping distance has increased because they get so warm when you're driving down the highway, and because I don't think people understand that your brakes are still somewhat touching every time you're driving, and that can warm up the rotors as well before you even hit the brakes. Then you add the heat of the day and the heat of the roads and the tires and everything else going on. Yeah, that thing can take a little bit longer to stop, and I don't think a lot of people realize that when they're out there
that's
tailgating somebody.
We can run these brakes probably get, I don't know how hot they get today, but at least 1,500 degrees on a hard braking situation. But back in the day with those other kind of pads and stuff, we got to 200 or 300 degrees probably. We're having brake fade.
And brake fade, yeah. And then the other thing that people don't think of is what that does to your fluid. So the brake's that hot, all that temperature, all that heat transfers into the fluid, and it'll boil the fluid. And then that's where, brake fade comes from, is when that fluid is boiling, then it's not able to be compressed because you have air in the system, essentially.
Well, let's go back to that. Years ago, all we did was keep adding brake fluid. We never did what we call a brake flush today like we do, because of how much hotter these things get and everything else, what it does to that. But trying to keep that fluid from not boiling. I mean, that's where the brake flush. I mean, I first remember we started introducing that, Josh. God, it's been a long time since we started doing that, because we realized what that fluid's doing in there and the heat that it gets. But the other thing that happens to that fluid is it can get moisture in it, condensation, and that's terrible on our brake system because guess what? Water does what? It compresses, and that's where you get your brake fade real quick
Compresses
real
and
fast.
corrodes and everything else, and then you get contaminants from corrosion. And it's and I think just about every manufacturer at this point has adopted a brake flush.
I think so too. Yeah, because they realize that too. They've got to get that fluid changed. Because as much as, again, as the manufacturers do their testing and stuff too, they realize that condensation can absorb in there very easily. And here we go with brake fade. And that's all we need is a brake fade because all that does is give you takes on more stopping distance. And guess what that happens?
Yep.
More wrecks.
Yep.
So, think about if we took all this.
So what do you guys recommend for that as far as fluid exchange?
I say
what do you guys recommend? 100,000, 50,000?
I say we do it every time we do a brake job for sure. But the other thing is, Delbert, we have a test strip. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think about that.
Stuff.
We can take a test strip and test down into the brake fluid, and we can tell now when that fluid needs to be changed. I'm going to flip gears here a minute to Jake's race car. I change that fluid about every 10 races just because the heat that he's putting that under and everything else, it's under extreme conditions, for short versions of that situation. But about every 10 races, I'm changing that brake fluid out of that race car. And I'm going to tell you, I used to use the test strips. But anymore, so I look inside that master cylinder. As soon as I see the color is just starting to change, boom, I'm changing it. Because you know what? I don't need that brake fade in that race car like anything else. But that's the same kind of a situation going to happen in your car. But so I would say every time you get a brake job, you need to do that too. But again, that test strip is very crucial testing that brake fluid. And we do that on the multi-point inspection. Put that test strip in there and see where it's at. And there's many times I will say, Josh, that you'll flush those brakes even in between brake services.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
From that part. So love the
what
test
kind
strip.
of a process is that for that to happen?
Every car is a little different, depending on the system you have and all that kind of stuff too. But the best way that I like doing it is how BG does it, and that is a way of you can pressurize the system, but then you can suck it through the system too, through a suction process. But then Josh, you kind of got to get me up to date a little bit on the analog brake side of this.
The first thing, and then that's the other thing that is analog brake systems in these newer vehicles and what you have to do to be able to get all the fluid out of them. But the first thing we're going to do is extract all the fluid out of the reservoir and clean out the reservoir. Then
you won't believe some of the stuff that's in the bottom of that reservoir.
That's in the reservoir. So after that, then they're going to put new clean fluid in the reservoir, fill it up. Then we pressurize the reservoir. You're going to go through and cycle the ABS system with the computer and activate that to get the fluid pushed through there. And you're going to go through each wheel. They start at the furthest away from the reservoir and then work the way to the shortest one to the reservoir. But the thing is, a fluid or the amount of fluid that we pump through that system versus what it holds, it's like 2 to 3 times the amount of fluid. So you get a higher exchange rate on that fluid just to make sure that you're getting really good clean fluid in there.
Well, getting all the residue through the lines and the residue from the heat that builds up in the in the cylinders on the wheel cylinders is crucial too. Because think about if the brakes are 1500 degrees, how much that brake fluid get?
Yep, very much so. And then the other side of that is, and we hadn't even really touched on it yet, but a better brake fluid. When you go from a .3 to a .4 brake fluid or a .2 to a .3 brake fluid, like your boiling point rises with each one of those. Now there is a .5 fluid, but it's a synthetic. It's a synthetic fluid. It's not cheap, but then also it's not. You don't use that with anti-lock brake systems. It's just not compatible with the valving and stuff like that in some of those ABS systems. So, but
most manufacturers run
.3. When we change it out, we go to a .4. And at one time I used to know the boiling point or the temperature difference, but it was like 100 degrees or
more.
More
going to a .4.
Going to a .4 than from a .3.
And then you would think that maybe a .4 would last longer than a .3. Don't think so. It's kind of like going to change your engine oil from multi to full synthetic. That doesn't extend
the life
interval.
of it. Yeah,
right. Exactly.
It's just better for the environment. Yep.
Exactly. So, anyway, Delbert, some great questions, great comments here for bringing that up. I like the idea of being safe.
Is there a standard cost for something like that when you add it to your brake job?
Yeah, so our brake fluid services I think are $129.95 for a brake fluid service. But again, it's and that's something that pretty much most manufacturers adopt that to be about every 2 years. of driving. But honestly, going back to the multi-point inspection and how we tell a consumer that that's a service that they need is we test the fluid, because everybody's situation's different, everybody's driving conditions are different. But there's when you test that fluid and you put that strip in there, there's no denying the moisture content in that thing. It's not a guess. It's that it needs it, and this is why. So
yeah, that's why I love those test strips and everything from that part.
Yeah, and just you guys describing how you do that process. I'm sure there are people out there that could possibly do it in their garages, but most likely this is not something you want to do at home. This is something you want to go and have a professional take care of.
And Delbert, I'm going to go another step too, because we've run into this so many times with other repair shops and things too. If you don't have the proper equipment, like BG provides us to do that service, and then number two, to be able to cycle the ABS and do the things you need to do with a scan tool and all that kind of stuff. Some guys can go in and just pull the fluid out of the reservoir and bleed the brakes a little bit and think you got a good service, but they forget about all those still the residual that's all through those lines and everywhere else in those cylinders and everything else too that you're not getting out. So it's always quality of a service too, not just getting a service done.
So
exactly, that's where I was going with that.
I got a list of comments that we'll go through here, but we'll do that here in a little bit. But I do have to point out one.
Okay.
For Google purposes.
Okay.
You say anything anymore and it can be fact checked.
Fact check
it can be fact checked in like 2.2 seconds.
I agree with 50% what's on Google
that's true too. So Greg Murray posts on here, .3 is 401 degrees Fahrenheit, .4 is 446 degree Fahrenheit. And so I knew there was a temperature difference for sure. But
how much was it again?
401 for .3 and 446 for
God, I thought it was higher than that.
Again, that's what I'm reading. I don't know.
Greg, fact check that again, buddy.
Yeah,
do another search on something else. Make sure that's right. I thought those fluids were a lot higher than that.
A bigger temperature
change.
Yeah. So, and then the other thing rolled by here, and I don't know, we should have had him run through the screen here, but we got your bike that you're going to be riding through.
The hell I am.
This thing
I could ride that. The problem is how I'm going to get stopped.
The getting on and going was
just have an ambulance behind me to take.
What do you think? That's 8 foot. The seat on this bike is probably 8 foot.
It has to be. Look how it's a good. Yeah, I mean it's. Can't say exactly how tall it is over his head, but it is way over. I want to see how he gets on and gets going.
With help.
I bet he uses a tree or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I bet he gets alongside this truck right here and just hops on from it.
Then the next thing is, how do you stop? How do you get off that thing?
Yeah, it's a long way down. Maybe you don't. Maybe you just keep riding.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's crazy.
I can tell you I'm not getting on that thing.
So, yeah, the Google fact check machine there. So, yes, great topic, Delbert, on the brakes and talking about that during, the heat of the summer and stuff like that for sure.
Brian Joy.
All right, guys, you guys have a great day. Get some other callers coming in. And if you guys go on YouTube, like, share, subscribe for that, get it out there so we can get them up to over 1,000 people on there subscribed so they can start to get some monetization going on there. Okay, guys, have a good day, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thanks, Delbert. Have a good weekend, buddy.
Yep. So let's go through.
Yeah. All right, 316-462-3673. Hey, let's get some phones ringing. Let's go. We're in the biggest little city in Kansas, getting ready to kick off the Halstead Parade. The ice cream truck will be here shortly. All kinds of activities going on here today. But, hey, if you got your hot rod and you need somewhere to go hang out today, come to the Scout Park here in Halstead. We've got the Pontiac GTO Club here putting on the car show for us this year. We got some cool trophies, some cool dash plaques for every participant that comes in. There's going to be a lot of great rewards and stuff. We added a few more trophies this year, Josh, for different prizes and stuff too. So excited for the GTO Club helping us with this car show this year. And half the entry fee is going to Halstead Old Settlers. Half the entry fee is going to the Coonsey GTO Club to help get that GTO. And then, Josh, I'm telling us, they're selling this in August or September. They're going to unveil that car in a private viewing for the family and everybody. And then shortly after that, we should have a live view somewhere displaying that car. So those you don't know, the Officer Coonsey that got killed in action, can't remember exactly when that was, 18 or 19 or whatever. He had a GTO that when he retired, he was going to restore. And him and his daughter were going to restore that car with him. They never got that chance. So the GTO Club found that out, took the car, and completely did a frame-off restoration, and doing all this through raising funds and donations and everything else too, to help get this car. And it's running. I've seen a video of it running.
Yeah.
It sounds good.
Very
It
good.
just sounds really, really good. And the first initial fire off, it fired right off. I mean, it
Yeah.
wasn't one of those deals crank, fire, like you used to and everything else too, but it fired right off. They got a few more touches and things to go with that car. But half the money today for your entry fee is going to go towards the GTO club to help them keep getting that car ready to go. I can't tell you how many thousands of dollars it's taken to put that car together.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a cool looking car when it gets done. I haven't seen the car, just telling us what it's going to look like and the color and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be a cool car. So get your hot rods out. Come to the biggest little city in Kansas. Come check out all the festivities here at the Old Settlers Parade and things. I don't know what else is going on here today. I know the great races last night. The mud volleyball was last night. So I don't know what else.
This morning we were cruising around and there was people for whatever reason running. I'm sure they do some sort of run.
Yeah, I think there's some kind of run, but that ain't.
I'm not sure.
Not me.
I don't know why they were running.
I told you, Josh, I want to take up running when I see someone doing it that I can tell they're enjoying it.
that they're having fun at it.
They're having fun at it. I haven't seen one person running yet. In fact, today I was coming down to Bentley Road. There was a guy. He was running along just in his shorts and shoes, no shirt on, a bottle of water. He didn't have no smile on his face.
So I'll go through the list here on the
Got some more
chat.
comments?
Yeah. So good morning, Greg. Good morning, Joe and Jason. Jim as well. So good morning to all you guys. So Josh, says we are in Halstead this morning. So that is correct. We're at Old Settler Days here in Halstead. We've got Nick says good morning. Rex. So
Rex back on today.
Rex wants to know. He says, "Will that thing do a burnout?" And I'm assuming he meant maybe the bicycle. I don't know. What do you think he meant on would do a burnout? I'm guessing he means the Raptor.
The Raptor.
Yeah.
It will.
Yeah.
Trust me, it will.
I think it will. So we may prove that. No. Then we've got Phil. Rex again says Phil on a bike. I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I bet you would too, Rex. Not happening today or tomorrow.
And then
that exercise is bad for you, just so you know. Just like water, it's bad for you.
And then Greg says he's not arguing with us. He just it isn't scientific, just trying to help. So I appreciate that. And I was not arguing with you either, Greg. I just I was bringing up the comment, and this has nothing to do automotive related, but I'll tell you this story about Google fact checking.
Oh yeah.
So I was walking through parts one day, and there was a on your screensaver on the computer.
Yeah.
You know how it'll randomly change and
Yeah.
put a picture of something on there. Anyways, there was a picture of this bridge on the screen. Well, the night before, for some stupid reason, I was sitting at home and my oldest son was watching a documentary on bridges, and they were going over the one in California that I don't know, it was in the 80s that one.
Hey, not to interchange here, Josh.
go ahead.
There's your speed right there.
Now we're talking.
Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
No,
there, but I sang that
hold
full
on.
up.
Hold on. If you go get on that bike, I will ride that through the parade. I will make a deal with you right now.
Ah. Hold on, we got to flip the camera around so they
Yeah.
can see that.
Go ahead and
Tell me if I hear. I'm going to flip the camera
Yeah.
around.
we'll get this flipped around here so you can see what. Yeah, there you go. Yep, that's it. You're in. So I will ride that through the parade if Phil will get on that 8-foot bike that we've seen and ride it
Josh,
through the
there's
parade.
two issues we got going on here. Number one, I don't think you can fit in there. If you're long on legs, I don't know where them legs are going to. You have to lay off the side or something.
I'm
So
telling
I don't
you,
think it's going to work.
Don't,
So I'm
don't-
thinking.
No. Don't count this out on me because I'm in. Okay.
I seen that roll up. Okay, so back to the bridges. I see that thing roll up. I had to stop.
We got another caller here, so we'll get him patched through. Anyways, he was watching this documentary on this bridge. It was the bridge that when the World Series happened, the cars drove off into it. There was an earthquake that happened.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yes.
So anyways, there's a documentary on that. Well, the screensaver that was on that bridge, I said, hey, that's that bridge. And I said the name of it. So then everybody in parts is like, how the hell do you know so much about bridges or whatever? Well, anyways, they Googled it and it was a different bridge. So I went from being an estranged guy that knew way too much about bridges to somebody that was completely stupid in like 2 seconds, thanks to Google.
Are you sure Google was right though? That's the next thing.
Yeah, that's the other thing too, for sure. So
Yeah.
anyways, let's go to the phones. Let's talk to Jordan. Jordan, you're on live with Under the Hood. Can you get us back on track?
I'll tell you what, I want to get you guys on track. I'm up here. I'm in the sprint car capital of the world for the Knoxville Nationals. I call you guys every year on this Saturday morning. What is it going to take to get you
Up here, Phil.
Planning is what I'm going to tell you. I'd love to be
Well,
up there. Fire guys think they're funny,
I
don't
mean,
they? No, Jordan, really honestly, me and
Look at this. Look at this.
what the world is that
Old
thing?
milk truck.
Yeah, anyway, Bill Johnson talks to me every year about going up there, and it never fails. I never realize when this is and everything else like that. You know, we're racing all the time and everything, Jordan, but I could just never get it fit in my schedule, and it pisses me off that I can't get there because I would love to be there in that arena and in that racetrack and in the fun, and because I know it's just a blast there, isn't it?
oh, wow. So, I'm 40 years old, and this is my 38th consecutive Nationals.
Wow.
I absolutely love it. I look forward to it every year. It's my favorite. The only thing I hate about it is it's like as soon as the Knoxville Nationals over, it's like summer's over, like everything, go back to the garage, school starts, but it's a way to kick off the summer. And you talk about Bill Johnson, he's got, I talked to him last night. He's like, man, I try to get Nightingale up here, get them MH Ford guys every year. He's like, he's maybe one of these years, but you got to get up here, man. It's the granddaddy of them all. You got
trust me, I know.
see it.
I know. And like I said, Bill and I talk about it every year, and I just never have enough advance notice to get the race schedule changed around or whatever. And what I need to do is I need to go put it on the race schedule next year and just schedule our races around it so I can get up there with that deal because I would love to be there. And this is the king daddy of the 410 sprints, right?
Yep. The biggest 410. It's not the most paying now that Tony Stewart has got the $1 million race, but as far as the prestige wide, it is it is the one. It's the national. It's the Super Bowl for these guys, and anyone in 410 sprint car racing is here. And what makes Knoxville so cool and so neat is it's a really small town. I mean, it's literally probably the size of Goddard. But they just invade the town, 1 week every year. And so because it's so small and everyone's walking around it, unlike other sports, if you go to a Chiefs game, you don't get to meet Patrick Mahomes, or if you go to a baseball game, you don't get to really meet any of the players. But here, if you bring your kids or you bring someone, the stars are walking around with everybody else. You get to meet, I walked past Kyle and Caitlin Larson walked right past me shoulder to shoulder last night. Everyone's just intermingled with everyone up here, and it's really neat. So, if your kids are into it, you want to bring your kid and actually let them meet one of these stars and get an autograph. It's totally doable. Where a lot of other sports, you go to a Chiefs game, you're not going to get Patrick Mahomes' autograph for your kid. But
okay, Jordan,
that's what's neat about racing.
Let's tell our listeners more in depth what's going on here and what's happening so they can kind of understand the magnitude of this race. Well, you and I and Josh understand it, but I bet a lot of our listeners don't understand really the magnitude of this race. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Well, again, it's the Knoxville Nationals. It's been going on for, I think this is the 62nd annual. And it is
okay, so now
it's held in Knoxville, Iowa.
Okay, so let's go back to this.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
It's sprint car races. So tell everybody what a sprint car is and how fast they go, how much they weigh, the horsepower, all that stuff.
Okay, well, yeah, that's a good point. A 410 sprint car is exactly what it says, 410 cubic inches. They make about 900 horsepower. They have to weigh a minimum of 1,400 pounds, which is power to weight ratio is nothing. And then they've got the ones that are running up here are wings. So they've got a 25-foot square foot wing on the top of it.
Okay.
And they say performance-wise, the only thing that compares to it is a Formula One car.
Okay, so let's go back to that 1,400 pounds. Is that with the driver, without driver?
That's with driver. 1,400 pounds with driver.
Yeah, so I think the car's probably 1,200, 1,250 from that part, and 900 horsepower. Okay, so now then they're running on. Is Knoxville? Is that a 3/8 half mile? How big a track is that?
It's a half mile, which is big for a dirt track. You and I know that.
Yeah.
But what's unique about Knoxville is it's flat. It's not banked at all.
Okay.
And with it being flat, it makes it really, really racy because they run the top to bottom all across it. Where a really banked track, they tend to just get up on the wall and run around it. So I think that's what's made it such a huge deal and what what the draw is, it's probably one of the raciest tracks you'll see. I mean, there's passing to the very end always. I mean, they never just line up and run nose to tail.
Okay, so let's go another step. How fast are these cars going? That's another thing I know as a
Yeah.
listener would want to know. How fast are these things running in a half mile?
Now, they're running between 120 and 140 miles an hour. And I hate it. I hate it when people ask me this question as a race car driver, because they don't understand speed is relative. So they're running 120 miles an hour, and you can say potentially, well, I can do that down the highway in my vehicle. Well, do it in the mall parking lot. That's the difference.
Yeah.
It's a lot faster. Speed is relative. I mean, they're on a half mile and they're on dirt. So that 120 miles, if you go scale speed, it's flying.
Yeah, well, that's what it's 120, 130 average. So they're probably hitting the corners going in there at about 140, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah, that's what they're averaging. So yeah, they're probably upwards of 140 when they enter the corner.
Yeah, exactly. Jordan, we have some race cars coming here behind us. They're stock cars coming in behind us here, lining up and stuff too. I know this pisses Jake off too that I don't have his car here, but I just don't get a big thrill out of driving a race car down a parade. Is what I don't like to have happen from that part. But if you know what I mean. And they were
race cars are for racing,
not driving in parades.
Show
right?
cars are for parades.
Right. And they're warming them up like they're getting ready to go racing too. That's the other thing. How about that? Oh no, they shut them off now.
Gosh.
So anyway, Jordan,
where are you guys at?
Man, we're in the biggest little city in Kansas. There goes Josh's Model A. See, look at how you're taller than him, Josh. Look at his legs. You're in trouble.
You're trying to talk me out of this deal, and I'm committed. If you're going to get on that bike, I'm going to get on that deal.
Anyway, Jordan, we're in Halstead, Kansas, my hometown. And so we're getting ready for the parade.
Gosh.
Oh, I know. And the worst part about it is
I didn't even know. I thought,
yeah, if this town could talk, holy smokes, would I be in trouble, buddy? Hey, so anyway,
I've already heard stories.
Okay, I'm going to tell.
I've heard stories. Anyone I've ever met from Halstead,
Now I'm going to tell you a quick story real fast.
The statute of limitations has run out of this one.
Oh,
so
a long
he's going to
time
go
ago.
ahead and tell this one.
But this is, I didn't do anything in this town that tore anything up or hurt anything or whatever, but I did some pranks to have some fun. But I never tore up anybody's cars or yards or anything else like that. Never did. Okay. But we have the teacher parking lot over here to the right, Josh. Okay. On the far end of that building over there is where we would go in for the band. You can see the band's getting lined up. And then over here to the left is where all the student parking's at, from that part. When the band would leave and go on their trips or whatever to go march or whatever, the band members would always just park up here in the teacher's parking lot and go into that building, which made sense. Okay, so Jordan, me and my buddies are cruising around one night and the band's gone. We see our buddy Scout sitting over there. And it's got the doors you can just open up and go, the removable doors and everything, but not real doors, the plastic doors, the rubber doors. So we take his Scout and just push it out in the middle of the parking lot. It was easy. Put it in neutral, and we just pushed it out there. Drove around a few more times. We were laughing our butts off. Thought it was funnier than hell. So then we go get my dad's Scout, and we push 13 of those cars and just scatter them out through the parking lot out here. So, and we just, again, good, clean fun, right? Didn't hurt nobody's car, didn't anything else that. Okay. The next morning, I get called up for the police to call me up there to come talk to him. I go up there and he starts reading my rights. I go, "What's this about?" He says, "Well, 13 counts of grand theft auto." I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Well, you moved from one parking lot to another." I said, "No, come on." It was a big joke, of course, whatever. But yeah, that's the kind of pranks I pulled in this town. Every time I pull here and stop, I think about how many those cars we pushed out of them. And we just scattered the parking. I would have loved to have been in that bus as they come around the corner and seen their cars all scattered around. Okay, so anyway, Jordan, sorry I got off track.
That's hilarious.
But you asked where we were at.
No, that's okay. I actually heard Josh Prophet pulled a similar prank growing up in Haven, that he put racing flames on his horse and buggy one time and rode it around the town square.
It was just at night, though, so nobody's seen that is what the deal was there. So, yeah. Thanks.
That was just the rumor.
Statute of limitations hasn't run out on that yet, Jordan.
It has or has not?
It has not, yeah.
Yeah, that's too funny.
Jordan, where are you from?
Webb City, Missouri.
Where the hell's that at?
Yeah, where is Webb City, Missouri?
Joplin.
Okay. All right.
Joplin.
Just a suburb of Joplin.
Suburb of Joplin.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried about what you did in that town too. Because
Yeah,
can that
so
town
there's
if that
statute of limitations probably
has run out or has not?
has not.
So what?
So
How long are you in Knoxville for? When did you go up there, and when are you back?
I cater for a bunch of the guys that have suites up here, Bill Johnson being one of them. So I've been up here all week, and tonight's the main of it. Tonight's the last night of it, and so I'll head home. First thing tomorrow morning.
Very cool.
Back to Wichita and get back to work. So
Yeah, because you're not working up there, are you?
I actually am. I'm working my butt off up here, but you get to watch some good racing from the suite, so it's pretty fun. And yeah, Knoxville, Iowa, I guess if you're where you guys are at, to help your listeners a little bit, it's basically 6 hours straight north of you. When you get to Kansas City, you're halfway.
Kansas City's halfway.
When you almost get to Des Moines, you bust off on a country road, and you got about 20 miles of country road, and boom, you're there.
Gotcha.
And they have a little airstrip here, so we could bring Mel Force One next year, so we don't even have to drive. We just
All right, we'll have to check that out and see. If I'd have known that might have been a different ball game. But yeah, we're gonna have to get this on. I'm gonna have to figure out when this race is next year, get it on the calendar, and change my race schedule around that. But might piss Jake off that I got to schedule a race around us. We're not racing Team 3J somewhere on that weekend. But I get it.
You need to do it. You guys can do your radio show from right up here, right in Knoxville. It'd be perfect.
Well, hey, buddy, we've done this radio show all over, and I think the most funnest one was in Bristol, Tennessee. And we did it right there at the racetrack and everything at Bristol. But, Josh, we've done it in a lot of places and a lot of fun places from that deal, too. So, well, anyway, Jordan, thanks for calling in. We're going to sign off a little earlier so we can get ready for the big parade and get ready for the car show here in the biggest little city in Kansas. And I just don't want to take any more chances. Anybody want to find out more things about myself here in this big in this town. But yeah, there's a few things at SoTown, and the drag strip out here west of town too. That's the next play. I spend a lot of time out there for some reason.
There's a drag strip out here. Really? What nights do they run?
Every night, baby. It was pretty popular on a Saturday and Friday.
I didn't see the stadium or anything. I don't know.
No, there's no stadium.
Concessions.
No, there was no. Well, there was concessions in trunks of cars, but
yeah,
from that part too. So yeah, we had a lot of drag racing out here west of town, out there too. So a lot of fun. Every time I drive by it, I think about launching off there and going. But anyway, lots of fun. So anyway, Jordan, root on, tell Bill we'll try to schedule next year to try to get to Knoxville and look at some more hot rods rolling in over here too, Josh. Some Vipers rolling in. So anyway, Jordan, have fun.
We'll see you guys. Have a good day.
You too, buddy. Drive safe when you're headed back, buddy.
I will.
See you, buddy. Bye. Okay, Josh, we're running out of time here. We got to get ready for the big parade and stuff. Again, if you got some hot rods, you need to get them out of your garage. Get to Halstead, the Scout Cabin, and Halstead Old Settlers putting on the car show. We got the Wichita GTO Club here raising money. Also, half the money in your registration is going to the GTO Club for the Coonsey GTO Restore. Half of it's going to the Old Settlers Car Club. Apple Graphics did some killer trophies that we're giving away. And Josh, if you got time, we have to do the deal. You have to go with me and pick up we got to pick the Mel Hambelton Ford Award.
Okay.
And everybody gets a dash black, all that kind of stuff. So lots of fun, exciting things going on here in the big city. So don't want to miss it. So I think we need to get ready for a parade, Josh.
Okay.
So, hey, everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We're coming to leaving you here from the biggest little city in Kansas, getting ready for the parade. The ice cream truck should be rolling up here shortly. And everything else I left off, Josh?
I think we're good.
Let's go real quick. BG Products are all the great, God, I can't spit it out, Josh. BG Products, all the great preventative maintenance products we use. Big Corner Creative for all your advertising needs, vehicle wraps, window wraps, race car wraps, window tint, and of course, Go To Rent right inside Mel Hambelton Ford. If you need something bigger to drive or something to go on, God, I can't say vacation anymore. So summer's almost over.
It's we're going to have to start talking about Thanksgiving here before too long. Okay, yeah.
Getting cold for that. So, hey, everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we will talk to you next Saturday, 9 a.m.